This morning on Inside Kansas Politics.
The total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol.
Kansas Governor Laura Kelly standing by President Biden after his shaky debate performance.
I really don't know what he said at the end of this.
How she's reacting to the fallout. Plus, the Supreme Court is now getting ready to hear about an age verification lawsuit for access to pornography sites. How this could impact new restrictions that just rolled out in Kansas. Also, a look at other state laws that are now in effect. From the Kansas State Capitol, this is Inside Kansas Politics. You're taking a look inside Kansas politics. Welcome in. I'm Rebecca Chung. We're starting off this morning with the aftermath of the first presidential debate. Now Kansas Governor Laura Kelly weighing in, and we caught up with her in Holton this past week, where she officially signed this year's tax bill. But Kelly cut off reporters when asked about what some Republicans and Democrats are calling a poor showing for Biden's debate. Later on, a spokeswoman for her office sent a statement from the governor saying that she'll back Biden in November. Meanwhile, Biden's making the rounds, now apologizing for his debate performance. And according to multiple reports, the president addressed supporters at a campaign fundraiser in Virginia. He says traveling internationally a couple times before the debate is to blame, and he also says he nearly fell asleep on the debate stage. That's pretty shocking. Joining me now, we have political analyst Bob Beatty, political science professor and author Michael Smith, and state and local government professor Bill Fiender. So first, let's talk about the governor's response to Biden's performance, because she's not answering questions on camera. Instead, we got that statement. So why is she shying away from this? Bob, let's start with you.
Well, we've said many, many times Governor Laura Kelly won re-election in a hard-fought campaign, and as we said that she's like her or not, she's a very smart politician, and it's a pretty smart thing to do, is not get in front or behind of this story, because ultimately this is a national decision that President Joe Biden's going to have to make, and right now it's swirling throughout the media, throughout Democratic voters, and she's not going to get in front of that. Notice in her statement she said she'll support Biden in November, but that doesn't mean she wouldn't support somebody else if that other person got the nomination. Okay,
something to think about. Michael, what about you?
We know that President Biden isn't going to win Kansas's electoral votes. Kansas hasn't voted Democratic for president since 1964. What we will see is lots of Republicans trying to tie Democrats to Biden. Not Laura Kelly, she's not on the ballot and she's term limited in 2 years, but other Democrats. However, that's going to have to be a policy stand. Just saying, well, we're going to tie you to someone who's 81 years old, well, okay. What they want to say that Biden's policies are unpopular. And of course, a lot of that will revolve around the incorrect assertion that the United States has an open border with Mexico, which is false. What the United States has is a system of applying for asylum, which Congress hasn't funded. But that's a topic for another day.
All right, Bill, what's your take on this?
I'm not surprised. She showed great deference and respect to the president. It's a smart move, as Bob said. She's shrewd politically, careful with her words, doesn't want to make a spontaneous soundbite. In fact, she uses her words in her statement, things such as the bipartisan bills that Biden administration passed to help Kansas in terms of infrastructure and some of the semiconductor, the CHIPS Act that I think she kind of alluded to there. So that just shows you it's not out of character. I don't think it was a sign of her, pivoting away from support for him, and quite frankly, she'll support whoever. I think, as we mentioned, whoever the nominee could be.
So, of course, Biden now doubling down and saying he's staying in this race, right?
Well, it's interesting that you lead with Laura Kelly, because I actually got a text from a Democrat. I'm unaffiliated, so I can throw things at both sides if I need to. But a Democrat texted me and said, Laura Kelly sure would have done a much better job in that debate. I agreed. She did really well in 2022. But that's the problem. Laura Kelly did well in the debates in 2022, but that was for governor. Joe Biden, this was a presidential debate. The White House has said, he had a cold, he had jet lag. It doesn't matter. The stakes for this debate were so high, which they made themselves by setting this debate before the convention. So there's a bit of the old story, the emperor new clothes, the emperor's new clothes, where in the story the emperor is walking naked down the street and everyone in the street is, oh, we like the new clothes. I'm seeing a massive disconnect between many Americans, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, and what's coming out of Washington, at least the White House, which is, oh, you know, it's just one debate, no problem. People are coming to me and said, what debate did they watch? This is very serious. We wouldn't be seeing this much consternation if there wasn't genuine concern that the president actually, you know, is going to have a lot of difficulty winning this race after that debate.
Yeah, Bob, and like you said, some mixed reactions coming from this debate in the Democratic Party as well. We have the chair of the KDP, and then we also have the governor saying they support him for the nomination. But then you have other Democrats asking him to step down. So what could we see play out at the national convention? Michael, we'll start with you.
All right, sure. I think that the replacement of Biden is unlikely. There is this idea being bandied about online of a pledged delegate could vote for another candidate, quote, in good conscience. But that would take a critical mass of delegates doing that. I think the only feasible way that President Biden is not renominated is if he chooses to withdraw. And I see that as highly unlikely. What I think you're likely to see coming out of the convention, besides the Democrats will hope for a very strong convention, is really talking more about his entire administration, including Vice President Harris, because presidents don't run the executive branch by themselves. They appoint people to an administration, and the administration runs the executive branch. And that's what I think Democrats would be smart to lean on more and get out of this idea that somehow the president works all by himself with no one helping him, which that's not how the executive branch operates.
All right, Bill, what's your take?
Yeah, I think that's the leader in the clubhouse, as they say, that he would be the nominee going into the convention. You know, but as these numbers keep coming in from poll just this week, Wall Street Journal, 3/4 of Democrats do not think he's electable. That's a big number. 2/3 of all Americans, all respondents, think there should be another candidate, and it's all based on the age issue. So those are big numbers. Those are big. Those could be lead to some seismic type of changes we aren't even anticipating. But if it's going to happen, I would think something needs to happen before the convention, because. And ironically, this is in Chicago this year. You don't want to have happen what happened in 1968, which was an open convention. That was a debacle for the Democrats. So, yeah, I would think sooner rather than later if something's going to happen.
And Bob, wanted to pose this question to you as well, but is it smart for Democrats to go all in on Biden like this when we know that there's already pushback after the debate?
Well, now's the time. So now is the time for Democrats to make their voice heard. There's now 2 House members, the United States Congress. As Bill's alluding to, we've never seen anything like this before. And this is not good for Democrats. Biden was already behind. I've been arguing that the reason he's behind is not because a lot of people all of a sudden really like Trump again. It's because the voters were sending a message to the Democratic Party that they really didn't think he was a 2-term president for them. They wanted another choice. They would couch it in, we don't like the choices, but they didn't like Trump. That's sort of been known for a while, many voters, not all, but they didn't want Biden to run again. And so, if people look, his polls haven't gone that much down since before the debate. They were terrible before the debate. He had the lowest approval ratings in modern polling history before that debate, which is why they did it. So if he stays in, this is like the Democratic Party running an election with one hand or more behind their back. It's going to be very, very, very difficult. And one other thing to what you said, part of running for president is inspiring people. And I've done informal discussions with young people, Democrats, Democratic leaners, who say, I can't vote for either of them. After the debate, one of them said, I just won't vote at all. That's bad news for Democrats. They need young people to show up because those swing states were close, Michigan, Pennsylvania. And there's already been a leaked report that Gretchen Whitmer from Michigan has told Biden, you can't win it. She's denying it. She's walking it back. Laura Kelly didn't want to make that mistake. But this is a really bad situation. Very quickly, Biden, if he loses, his legacy will not be the 4 years he beat Trump. It could be that, that he would not step down and got shellacked.
And one of the biggest mistakes the Democrats are making, in my opinion, is not putting Vice President Harris front and center.
I agree.
The message every single day should be, here's your next president if anything should happen to President Biden. She's ready to go. She's 2 generations younger. And I think that ever since they took office, the Democrats have underused Vice President Harris. And I think that's a mistake.
Don't you think if there's a silver lining here, it's that
Bill's found a silver lining.
the debate happened before the convention? It happened early to get exactly what's happening out of the way?
I'm not understanding, as I've already noted. I'm not understanding the White House reaction, because when the debate was scheduled, I honestly thought, well, this gives them a chance, if Biden is a disaster, to get another candidate. Why else would you do this? So the White House wants it both ways if he doesn't drop out. We wanted an early debate to show you he's up for it, but if he doesn't show you he's up for it, don't worry, we got another debate. That's why I thought they scheduled it.
Yeah,
yes.
that's what.
There's never been a debate before the convention.
No.
So why else would you do it?
All right, thank you all. We have a lot more to get to when we come back, including this.
This decision will protect people of faith.
Kansas Attorney General Chris Kobach claiming a victory in his latest lawsuit. A judge issuing a temporary injunction blocking protections for transgender students under Title IX. This morning, we hear from Kobach and talk next steps when we come back. You're watching Inside Kansas Politics.
Together with Washburn University, we are proud to be back with another year of Everything Woman.
A 27 news series highlighting extraordinary women in our communities.
Like a woman helping and teaching adults with disabilities.
Or a woman working to fund research for a rare disorder.
Or a woman inspiring young students through theater.
Everyday women with their own unique stories.
To nominate someone, go to KSNT.com and click on Everything Woman.
Sponsored by Sharp Honda, Topeka ER and Hospital, and Washburn University.
I would refer anyone that has been in an injury accident to call Devon James. They care about you, they get to know you, they're authentic. Their sense of integrity and trustworthiness is outstanding. They constantly were looking out for my best interest, and they really helped me to get what was fair from the insurance company. They did everything that they promised me, and it was a great experience.
27 News leads with over 29 hours of original local programming per week. Hours more than our competitor, including shows like K-Nation and Inside Kansas Politics. More news, more weather, more sports. 27 News, working for you.
Craving something different and delicious? Check out the area's food trucks at Tasty Trucks. With fresh ingredients, unique recipes, and a dash of local love. Menus and locations are at your fingertips at ksnt.com/tastytrucks or the 27 News mobile app.
Next live, Faye Dunaway from her new documentary, Faye, plus the new Bachelorette, Jen Tran.
This is the moment I feel like the main character in my own love story.
Monday at 11 on 27 KSNT. Come out for a wonderful day of golf and support the Topeka Performing Arts Center at the annual TPAC Golf Tournament. Shotgun starts at 8 a.m. at Great Life Golf and Fitness at Shawnee Country Club. Register your team of 4 today at topekaperformingarts.org.
Welcome back to Inside Kansas Politics. I'm Rebecca Chung. Next up, Kansas Attorney General Chris Kobach claiming a victory in his challenge against the Biden administration's new rules for Title IX. Now, when we spoke with Kobach shortly after a judge issued a temporary injunction on the new rules, he argued the change that is, would cause 2 main problems in public schools. Now, first, that transgender athletes would be allowed in girls' bathrooms, locker rooms, and showers. And second, he believes many religious Americans think there are only 2 sexes and worries that saying so in schools would be considered harassment under the rule. Take a listen.
As the father of 5 girls, I do not want to see schools in Kansas be places where biological males can enter the restrooms at their whim of girls and can enter the locker rooms. Also, this decision will protect people of faith.
Now, this is another setback for the Biden administration. The Department of Education released the changes to Title IX back in April, which expands LGBTQ protections to gender identity. Now, education officials saying in a release, every student deserves educational opportunity free from discrimination. And Bob, what are your thoughts on this? Because we know that part of the Department of Education's new rule would expand protections, like we mentioned, but basically including that protection against sexual discrimination would also be based off someone's gender identity or sexual orientation. So what do you think about the points that Kobach is bringing up in this argument?
Well, it's not quite big a deal as what I think, but what I think is that he got a very favorable ruling from this judge. And this judge was very concerned about the idea that the Biden administration went too far, especially in two ways with this new rule. One is the judge said that really, is there any statutory authorization to expand this rule? So that's a concern. Basically, is this legal? Can the executive branch do this? The judge also said the defendants do not have the authority to expand the definition of sex discrimination, and said it looks to be, quote, arbitrary and capricious. And really, that's that big leap, at least for this judge, between gender and gender identity. And the judge actually wrote down the concern that the new rules prohibit medical documentation regarding identity. So, echoing Kobach's argument that somebody can declare an identity and then go into a locker room. There doesn't even have to be any sort of medical documentation to sort of back that up.
Before we go to you, Michael, I just wanted to ask Bob real quick. So, Bob, what's next in this particular case? Because this is a temporary injunction. So, could this mean that the court would side with Kobach overall?
Well, in Kansas, yes, the quick answer. Right now, the new regulations are stopped in Kansas, and in anywhere else, I believe it was 16 other areas, whether they were states or whether they were just plaintiffs. So it's not nationwide, and so it's going to have to wield its way through the court system in order to have a nationwide impact. But in terms of Kansas, yeah, right now, those regulations are not enforced.
We'll be right back. You're watching Inside Kansas Politics.
What's better than Channing Tatum?
How about an all-new Kelly?
Exactly. You said you were tired of working out?
My knee has been completely messed up.
I ruined my left knee. We are old.
Monday at 3 on 27 KSNT.
Every child deserves to live their best life. And you can help give kids with cancer that chance when you reserve a ticket for the St. Jude Dream Home giveaway. Reserve your ticket now and help today's patients become tomorrow's survivors.
This is Entertainment Tonight. This is the Bible of show business.
Weeknights at 6:30.
Craving something different and delicious? Check out the area's food trucks at Tasty Trucks. With fresh ingredients, unique recipes, and a dash of local love. Menus and locations are at your fingertips at ksnt.com/tastytrucks or the 27 News mobile app.
Would you rather hear about sports from people who like to talk sports, or hear from the people who actually play and coach sports?
The best predictor of future success is past success.
K-Nation has the interviews and coverage you want for all things KU and K-State.
When you do the small things correctly, big things will happen.
Join us every Sunday night after 27 News at 10 for another exciting week of K-Nation. Sponsored by 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline.
Window Warrior Project helped me find the strength to go further than I ever thought possible.
I was able to come out of my shell and really connect with others.
So I can feel like part of a team, part of the community again.
It's possible to live better.
It's possible to have a voice and to be heard.
To feel understood.
To find peace.
Because I've experienced firsthand that anything is possible.
Welcome back to Inside Kansas Politics. I'm Rebecca Chung. New laws are now in effect in Kansas, more than 100 in fact, and here's just some we've been tracking to name a few. So this includes criminalizing abortion and suicide coercion, requiring people to verify their age before accessing pornographic sites, and granting immunity from drug crimes for people who call for medical assistance on overdoses or other emergencies. Now, the governor also signed off on major tax cuts and a star bonds bill attempting to attract a pro sports team to the state during special session. So back with our panel now. Let's start with age verification for porn sites in Kansas, because the Supreme Court now taking up a lawsuit for a similar law in Texas. How could this impact Kansas's law, Bob?
Well, Kansas is one of the few states that has put in this law like Texas has, and it's now in effect. And one of the top porn sites in the world, not just the United States, Pornhub, has already announced they're leaving Kansas, just like they're have left Texas. And so it could have a major impact because the porn companies do not want to be in the business of age verification. And also a lot of people think that it's a violation of free speech and free association and basically all freedoms, because with if the companies all move out, then effectively the law gets rid of the opportunity for Kansans to access those sites. So it's really a free speech argument, and in the past the courts have struck down some sort of regulations on movies, video games, and other things when there's the possibility that it's more about free speech than protecting children.
All right, and then we also have some new abortion laws also going into effect, not just the abortion coercion law, but also one taking heat from some providers is abortion reporting. So doctors have to ask patients why they're getting an abortion in a survey, asking them to choose the most important reason. This includes many options such as financial stress, rape, fetal disabilities, or the health of the mother. So is this truly, though, helping to collect information? Michael, what do you think about that?
Well, it's already been challenged in court. That didn't take long. I wouldn't imagine would deter anyone from having an abortion. I will say I am a big fan of making database decisions about this very controversial issue. The Guttmacher Institute, which is pro-choice, but they collect objectively verifiable data that is just excellent. And if we could talk in a data-based way, we could probably have a more civilized conversation about that. That said, I'm not sure that this Kansas law is going to get data that is as reliable.
Okay. Now, of course, we also have this year's tax package that passed. We've talked a lot about this on past episodes, but we want to get to your take, Bill. Since it seems like this compromise doesn't include as much tax relief for property taxes as some legislators wanted.
Right. If you remember, this is the last train leaving the station here. We came to a special session. Here's our tax bill, take it or leave it. People hopped on. The winners and losers of this, you kind of hit on. Some of the losers, going into the session, us grocery shopping people, we will have our food tax delayed until January 1 of 2025 and not accelerated. The landowners, property taxes took a hit. So you're in the kind of the loser category, but you won. You came out ahead, just not as much as going into the session. You lost about $55 million. You're still winning. So I fully expect that to be on the table in January when the legislators come back. The main winners here are higher income earners with the income tax rate reduction. Social Security recipients, I'm not pointing to myself yet, but Social Security recipients, no income tax in the state of Kansas. And then lastly, I'm going to throw a bronze medal in there for Governor Kelly and the legislative leadership. Bronze because I don't know if they could have done this back in April. Just get in the room, figure this thing out, and lead to your respective parties, and here's the bill. But they did get in the room, they compromised, and we Kansans now have some tax relief.
All right, thank you all. We'll be right back. You're watching Inside Kansas Politics.
The summer savings event is on at the Mattress Hub, and now is the time to save big. Find huge savings on the best brands in sleep. Change the way you sleep with Tempur-Pedic or Purple mattress with savings up to $500 and no interest financing up to 60 months. Only at the Mattress Hub.
Finally, vacation.
A moment to relax, unplug, and enjoy some peace and quiet. Except you're not on vacation this year because your old wood windows need expensive maintenance and repairs. Maybe you'll see the beach next year. At Renewal by Andersen, our exclusive long-lasting Fibrex windows give you the durability of wood and the low maintenance of vinyl. So relax and let your windows work hard instead of you. Visit our website to claim this month's offer and schedule your free consultation.
The Honda you want is here, so drive in the moment with the versatile CR-V or Accord. Both named a Car and Driver 10 Best. And when you drive a Honda, you're driving with the 2023 Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com Best Value brand. Buy online, reserve from select dealers, or hurry into your local Honda dealer today.
Immediately after the crash, it starts. Before you even know what's happening, the trucking company sends their insurance people, their crash experts, and their lawyers right to the scene.
What are they up to? Shaping the story to protect their bottom line. And none of them are there for you.
But we are. The minute you call. After your truck crash, we're Devon James. You're on the scene, big truck team.
When they try to twist the facts, we know how to set them straight.
Truck crash? Call 888-8888.
This week's Pets in Need Spotlight is Galaxy. Galaxy is a 5-year-old husky mix. Her previous family says she's good with kids, dogs, cats, and rabbits. She loves attention and has energy to spare. You can meet Galaxy at Helping Hands Humane Society.
All right, before we go, let's talk about some issues that didn't get as much attention this year and maybe other new laws that kind of flew under the radar. So, Bill, let's start with you.
Okay, state fire marshals. They inspect our nursing homes and hospitals and daycares. A bill was passed unanimously that prevents them from wearing body cameras into those facilities. Why is that? That kind of hit me because in this age of very lost privacy and more transparency of our public safety officials, a very thoughtful piece came forward to protect privacy of those residents.
All right, Michael.
I would say affordable housing and homelessness. We didn't see any action. We know housing prices are way up in Kansas, particularly in urban Kansas. And then on the homelessness, there was a bill that would have provided some relief. However, it came with mandates that local governments could clear homeless camps. Homeless advocates thought there was more bad than good, so essentially nothing was done on affordable housing or homelessness this year.
All right, Bob, now you.
Yeah, the governor and the legislature put in $300,000 for the possible to buy the Charles Curtis House. Charles Curtis was vice president from 1929-1933. He was a Native American, the first vice president of color, and the state would possibly like to turn that into a museum and could be a great asset for the state of Kansas.
All right, thank you all. And that was your look inside Kansas politics. We'll see you next Sunday right here on 27 KSNT at 10:30 a.m. Have a good day.